Hey, just want to make this really quick video to help people get Retroarch on Steam running better. I know a lot of people are using it for the Steam Deck and things like that, so I also just want to throw in two little extra tips. So if you are wanting to play PS2 games on Retroarch, here is how you do it. Once you have Retroarch installed, click on the cog and go ahead and pull up the installed files. Browse the installed files, that way you have a window of it, just so we have it as we're proceeding. Inside of this, we're just going to look for the systems folder, and we're going to go into that folder. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to launch Retroarch, and we want to download the Sony PS2 core. Now, you may or may not have it. I did not have it, so you might have to find it on the Libetro and just download it. To do that, you just have to download the core. So you're going to go to Online Updater, Core Downloader. It'll fetch the list, and then inside this list, you're just going to look for the Sony PlayStation. So that's what you're looking for right here. It's the Sony PlayStation LRPS2 and the PlayStation Exclaim Play. I believe this is a version of Android, if I'm not mistaken, but this is the one that you want, and you want to download this. All right. Go ahead and quit out of RetroArch and then head on over to pcsx2.net/downloads and grab yourself the portable version. So when you're done, it will look like this. You'll have a little zip file. When you right click it, you'll either have a 7-zip. If you don't have 7-zip, just real quick download 7-zip and make it your main program. To do that, you just go to properties, change, and then you can look for more on this PC and then find it in your programs folder, file manager. Anyways, so you can extract that. You'll get a folder like this. So when you have this folder and you have your system folder, you're going to make a folder called PCSX2, and you're going to move the contents of this here in, like that, move. That will put everything in here. Then you're going to launch PCSX2. You'll get prompted with a menu that's different than this one. It'll be a little basic setup. And one of the questions will ask you for a BIOS. This is very important, and this is also very important for RetroArch to properly read it. So you may or may not have a folder called BIOSes, but if you do not, create one. If you do, just go ahead and give it an open. There might be some kind of README file in there. So we specifically want the 704 European and PAL of BIOSes. I believe that's because these are region free. So to get those, we are going to go to the Internet Archive, and we are just going to grab the, let's see, 7004 set right here, and anything else that's 7004 set. So right here as well. When you download these, you're just going to deposit them in here like these. You'll just have a bunch of files in your BIOS folder. Once you do that, you should be able to refresh in PCSX2, or you can relaunch it and you can select it. So it'll look like this. Next, you'll get these plugins, everything, apply these settings. As you can see, there's no BIOSes, but I can go here. And if I go find my RetroArch installation, I can select the BIOS, just like you should do. You should default that. And then when you're done, it'll launch like PCSX2. So just to confirm, this is the docs.libetro for PS2. These are definitely the BIOSes that you want. That's why I say just get all of them. These are just the slim PS2s from my understanding. And if you have any questions, go over to the Libetro docs. They're great. They have a lot of information. So if we search up PS2, we can immediately jump to LRPS2 core info, repository, informations, things like that. So once you have everything done correctly and you have the files set up, go ahead and hit play on RetroArch. and import your content. This would mean scanning the correct directory for all of your ROMs. If you have one massive directory of emulation, that's where you want to go. So I'm just going to jump in and show you. My E drive is where I keep my retro ROMs. I have a massive collection of video games from over the years. You can also just scan the entire directory, of course, as many of you should know, or if you don't, now you do. You can go to PS2, and as you can see, I have some covers already downloaded and some not. But you can just load any of these up. So getting to the next point of which this video is, we wanted to play Champions of Norath, and we started a 2-player lobby. And what we found out was that inside of Retroarch, when I set my core allocation and run a game, if this boots, holy shit, if this boots in inside Steam, I can shift tab and remote play with anybody. Anybody. This means I can invite a friend and just invite a guest with just a link, meaning one of those friends back in the day, the only upfront cost to play is a controller. That's it. They can just play games with you. So it works fantastic. There is a caveat. Some people have had issues with audio. We ran into that issue. Woo, it's loud. We ran into that issue as well. And the answer was he just spammed his keyboard until it worked. And I changed the driver to direct audio and invited him after the game had already loaded. That way, for whatever reason, we bypassed the PS2 audio issue that we were having. So if you have that issue, it's resolved for the most part, from my understanding. And there really is no barrier to entry here. If you're the host, I'm assuming you're the computer whiz one that wants to set this up. And it's really easy, and it's huge for the community. Co-op games being made readily available. There are some caveats. There are no Xbox 360, PS3, Switch, and other things not supported in the libretto of Retroarch. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing libretto. I don't know. So you can't add those, and an exploit was recently found. So if I go to my speedrunners installation here, and I browse that folder, you will see I have Xenia Canary installed in here. So something that my friend Needledeek and I have been working on is a or Joy2 key input mapping so that it at least closely simulates a controller. We've been trying to get it to work with Ryujinx, Xenia Canary, Zemu, and others. And with really no luck. We can't get really much of the Xbox library working. We cannot get much of we can't get any of the Ryujinx library working. We can't get any of the PS3 library working properly. The Joy to Pad seems to be working. We are getting there with it, but it's really difficult to be accurate. It does not feel right. It doesn't feel like the game. It's not. So we're working on figuring that out. Because there's no connection link. There's no controller link. So what's really important to understand is for some reason RetroArch works. So that works fantastic most of the time. And no other emulator works without a little bit of a workaround. We found that streaming in low quality on Discord, the game and its audio, while using the Steam Link was a really good way of getting the audio across as well as the gameplay so we can play and record at the exact same time. So Needledeek and I are currently working on a playthrough of Champions of Norath on the PS2. So the delay is not bad, and he has been leading the charge in the Let's Play. Like, he is a full level ahead of me. He has way better equipment. He already has magic. I only recently got my magic in Champions of Norath, so to put that into perspective, yeah, I think he's playing just fine. We tested time splitters, which we're going back to actually. We're gonna do a full playthrough of time splitters, Future Perfect, and awesome. And again, first person shooter, twin stick, point and click, and he said it was perfectly fine. He said it was a great time, even when he had the sniper rifle. He said that the lag was completely tolerable, and it was no different than when he was playing Xbox 360 back in the day on his old DSL internet. It's that same old school experience that he expects, and uh, you'll probably hear him say that in the video, which is pretty cool. So I'm putting it on a pedestal, but I also want to state, uh, obviously, this is a very accessible route that might not be perfect for everybody, the remote play feature. But the network systems are getting a lot better. More and more private servers are popping up. The cost of starting up a server is getting a bit lower because the level of entry is getting a little bit lower. Even I want to get into setting up servers and trying to learn how to do that. But where I am, I'm restricted on my port forwarding almost to nothing. So, yeah. I can't do that, so I can't connect to a lot of private servers and things like that. So I think that's like a very common issue. I think a lot of people have that issue. So this is also just a way that you don't really have to figure all that out, and you can just play a co-op game. It does restrict you, but let me know what you guys think down below after you try it out. I think it's pretty good. Later.